Hi all. Hope you've had a blessed day today. Today I'd like to talk about 2 Kings chapter 5 verse 13. Naaman's servants, however, approached him and said, "My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, 'Wash and be cleansed'?" This verse is part of a heartwarming story of a mighty general in the Syrian army named Naaman, of course, who was a leper. He had great faith in God. Sometimes he demonstrated it, and other times he didn't, like in this case. The story goes that one little servant girl in Naaman's employ trusted God so much that she suggested to her mistress, "If only my master would go to the prophet in Samaria, he would cure him of his skin disease." Elijah, the prophet, heard about Naaman's need and sent a message to Naaman by his servant, telling Naaman to go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and his flesh would be restored. Naaman's reaction was one of anger. He didn't want to wash in the dirty waters of the Jordan because the rivers in Syria were far cleaner. He was also annoyed because Elijah had not bothered to come see him in person, but instead sent somebody with a note, "Wash and be clean." That was the simple task that Naaman was given. And that's when his servants had said to him, if the prophet had told you to do something great and mighty, you would have ran out the door and did it. But he's simply just saying, wash yourself in the river. Wash and be clean, or be cleansed, is a call to all prideful sinners who are stained by sin. Well, as prideful as Naaman was, he finally swallowed his pride and he humbled himself before God. He obeyed the word of the Lord that was handed to him by the prophet. So he went down to the river, dunked himself 7 times, and then his skin was restored and became like the skin of a young man, and he was now clean. This story is a reminder of the rottenness of our sin, our need to be cleansed and restored. Naaman had to humble himself before the Lord, which is what we need to do. We need to humble ourselves before the Lord, obey his word, and admit our inability to cleanse ourselves. Naaman couldn't do that either, despite his great wealth, position, and power. But how often does that happen today? People rely on their position, their wealth, their power. They rely on themselves. They just ignore the simple truth of the gospel. And they're just too proud to humble themselves before God. And that's really what we need to do. Humble ourselves before God and cry out to him for forgiveness and cleansing. God bless you all.